Alright, and we're back. We're gonna fight John Karnak. Just kidding. This is arguably one of my favorite looking levels in the entire game, and I actually think this might be my favorite level in all of Serious Sam. At least the first encounter. It's not my favorite, period. My favorite in the entire game is actually probably... You know, I'll have to think about that one. I'm not really gonna spoil it. I want to get there when I get there, and I'll let you guys figure out why. So, yeah, this is pretty much... You know, I wouldn't say this is a bad level, as much as I'd say it's annoying. This isn't very hard. It's just pretty much using everything you've already learned up to the point in the game to where you have to, like, you know, we already know how to take care of the toads, we already know how to take care of narrow environments, you get some open environmental areas. It's just a pretty solid area. Like, I'd say this might be my favorite level in the game. And I believe the demo version of this, which is included in if you have the, like, I believe, Fusion Beta, you can pretty much just, you know, have a good old time and do whatever, and you get to experience the game in a very early beta stage, and it's not very good. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but the beta level is pretty bad. Like, it's just not very much fun. I honestly don't remember what this secret does, and I'm not really gonna go look for it, because it's not in my best interest, honestly. So, oh, it's over there. Well, too bad, I'm not going over there. You can just, you're gonna have to wait, and do that on your own time. But like I said, I don't think Serious Sam's a very focused game when it comes down to, like, very close quarters combat like this. Which, it sucks, because it's a really awesome looking area, it's just... The combat isn't really facilitated for these narrow indoor environments. It's a lot more open and, you know, just trying to make sure you're utilizing all your skills and your weapons, and it just sort of slides downhill when you have to, like, deal with just close quarters. And if I remember correctly, the beta version of this level is set during, like, morning or something? I can't remember. There's also a really, really bad DLC. Like, I think it was free? Either way, it's just not very good. I'm just readjusting my seating position here. I sit cross-legged all the time, if you're ever curious. That's why you hear me adjusting quite a bit. I'm like 6'4", so I have to, like, find weird positions to sit in. Otherwise, I get really uncomfortable really easy. That just sucks, man. I hate people. Oh, being tall is great. I'm like, yeah, no, it sucks. Like, there's not very much good about it, honestly. Okay, so if you couldn't have guessed by now, all these, like, pickups are trapped. So be ready for that. Alright, so I'll leave those alone, because every single cannonball pickup is always 5. Or, sorry, it's always 4, so I'm not going to pick them up just yet. But I really quite like this level. It's one of my favorites. I'm just going to get those guys spawned and out of the damn way. I don't really want to deal with them right now. Come on. You can kind of snipe with the cannonball. It's just not as accurate, because you have to account for the arc. It's not like a sheer fire 100% sniper rifle, though. But I mean, it basically does insane damage. Like, there's very little chance you're going to actually take, like, splash damage with it, because you have to actually have the explosive detonate on you. So you have to really try to make the rocket come, or the ball come back and hit you. I have never really died from it, I don't think. I'm sure you can rocket jump in some really rudimentary fashion, but I've never done it, so I don't want to find out. Oh, my mouse cable just keeps... Hang on. Mr. Man, you can... There we go. I was gonna say, you can wait. But yeah, we gotta basically make that a little platform so we can go across, which is kind of arbitrary, because I'm pretty sure you can rocket jump over that. But you know the drill. Where the hell are you? Okay, there we go. So the only reason I don't like this part very much is just because I feel like the developer's running on E at this point too. So a lot of the puzzles are kind of gone. A lot of the you never get that insane momentum that you got during like, what's it called, where Memphis, where you're just barreling enemies towards you by the hundreds. I mean, that doesn't really happen until the second encounter again. Like, at this point, it's not gonna happen. Like, so if you're ever like, oh, does it ever get that crazy? No, not really. The game kind of dials it back, and I'm kind of glad it does, but at the same time, I know a lot of players would probably like that if the game was like that, but I mean, Serious Sam 3 is pretty much like that for the most part as well. It's got some moments where it's like just traditional style, but I don't know. I don't think it does. I don't think Serious Sam 3 really has very many portions like what I'm doing right now. And when they are, it's incredibly brief. Like, you don't ever get that same level of just mindless, like, everything's kind of like open. It's almost too open. I don't know. I don't think Serious Sam 3 is as bad as it gets a rap for, but I don't think it's as good as these games right here either. And that's not to say it's a bad game. It's just a totally different design philosophy, and I don't think that's a bad thing either. There is some shit in that game I don't agree with. Like, number one, it does have hit scan enemies. I mean, yeah, there's hit scan enemies in this game too, but they're relatively, like, out of the way. You know, they're not as easy to get, like, chip damaged on. They're almost designed that, like, if you get chip damaged by them, it's totally your fault for being in their line of sight. Whereas in Serious Sam 3, it's almost a little bit, like, just counterintuitive. Like, you just take shitloads of damage from hit scan enemies. There's like a... oh, what is it? It's like a... I'm trying to remember what it is. It's like a helicopter. Like, it kind of reminds me of the synths from, or the attack chopper sequence from, like, Half-Life 2, basically. But it's just really awkward, and I don't think it's very fun. I mean, it's a brief boss fight, and it's not the worst thing ever, but I personally don't like it, and it only shows up, I think, like, what, once? And then after that, it just kind of stops. It's just this really annoying, like, boss. And then there's also a part where you have to, like... oh, Jesus, what are you doing, like, in that part? I'm trying to think of. It's been a while since I played it, so bear with me here for a second. You're trying to do something. Oh, it's the Mothership Fight. I absolutely fucking hate that. That is the worst part in the game. And it's during the worst part of the game, too, so it's like... how serendipitous, right? It's just... oh, I hate that. I don't like that fight. It's just... I feel like it's complete luck every time I do it. And I don't mean that in a good way. It's like... it's completely lucky whether or not you actually kill it or not, because it spawns in a bunch of shit while you're... picture it like the icon of Sin from Doom, like Doom 2, and it's pretty much like that, except it's just not very fun. Like, it's spawning in shit the entire time you're doing it, and it spawns random enemies. It's not like the same enemies each time, I don't think. So, it's very possible to accidentally, like, you know, just spawn in a bunch of kamikaze units, and you have to, like, fall back. You can run out of ammo. You run out of ammo a lot in that game, I feel. Like, there's portions where there's just... it doesn't feel like there's enough ammo. And I don't know if that's just me being bad, but every time I play, I always feel like I just don't have enough ammo. And like I said, that could just be a me thing. It probably is, because I just suck at everything, you know, but I don't know. I've always had an issue with Serious Sam 3's item distribution, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing either. But, yeah. For me personally, I think Serious Sam 3 is a good game. I don't think it's the worst. It's definitely not as polished as the first two installments, but, you know, it's fun. I can't say it's the worst thing I've ever played. I mean, I've played better shooters for sure. I'd say Painkiller is better than Serious Sam 3, and that's just my opinion, though. I have played most of the Painkiller games, not all of them. There's like 8,000 expansion packs, so I genuinely can't say it's, like, you know... I played Painkiller Black Edition, how about that? So, by the way, these guys are asleep. Just kind of hammer them away. Don't worry about, you know, whatever at this point. Just kind of... there's no such thing as stealth in Serious Sam. Just go ahead and shoot the dudes, you know. You're not gonna lose points. There's a part in Serious Sam Second Encounter where there's something similar to this. You have to, like, stay inside of this, like, spotlight for a few seconds. It doesn't really matter, because you end up, like, fighting all that shit anyways at the end. But it's not like that. I get this part mixed up with that one a lot, because they're very similar design-wise, like the big empty room, you know. I like Serious Sam 2's design, and like I said, every time I say 2, I'm referring to Second Encounter. I mean, technically it's an expansion pack, it's not even a whole game, but it's just as long, if not longer, than Serious Sam First Encounter. I don't know. And then 3 is called BFE, which is before First Encounter, so it's like... I feel like they just wanted to distance themselves away from 2 as much as they could. Like, you'll notice there's no, you know, Serious Sam 2 inside this engine. I even saw like a forum post on this too, like Crow Team themselves were like, we can't do it because the engine's just totally different. 3 and this one also just kind of run on the same engine, so it's a lot easier for them to compatibly put them all in the same package. Whereas 2 is just a totally different game with like totally different like design philosophies. So I totally get it. This is also a pretty okay like overheal to get. It's not like required, but I'd recommend it. Okay. I'm gonna use the shotgun in here and probably regret this, but let's use the pistols instead. I don't want to waste too many shells. I don't think there's ever really instances in this game where you run out of ammo. I don't think there really is. It's just such a like well-distributed game that I don't think that ever happens. Now, I will say one thing that's really bad about the second half of the game, and it's why I just don't like it either. I think the final boss is absolutely fucking terrible. And I don't mean to be insulting to the design of it, you know, but it's pretty bad. Like, it feels like it's completely random. And I'm not trying to, you know, make excuses for my bad behavior here, but I genuinely don't think that the final boss in this game is very good. I also don't even think the final boss in Serious Sam 3 is very good. You know why I like 2? Because the final boss dies, like, really, really fast. And, like, it's so easy. But, I mean, that's a good thing to me, because the true boss fight of that game is the cathedral fight. Like, that's it. Like, that's... To me, that is the, like, the apex of Serious Sam. Big, giant environment, lots of dudes. And you have nothing but your own skill. Like, that is awesome. Also, this is the Devourer in Egyptian mythology. I can't really talk about it right now. I'm making piss, so, you know. Anyways, in ancient Egyptian mythology, that was basically the thing that ate your fucking heart. It was pretty metal, okay? It didn't fuck around. Like, he basically took, like the pharaoh's souls and judged them based on their level of sin in their life. If they had too much sin, you could have you were basically just died again, and you were just gone forever. So, like, they did a lot of cool shit back in the Egyptian days, in the ancient culture of Egypt, I should say, where you could, like, please the gods by having, like, little heart amulets and stuff. That's why they had, when they embalm mummies in Egypt, when they embalm them, they usually, they always did. There's actually Tutankhamun, I don't think actually had his heart embalmed with him, which was kind of heresy. But, like, you know, like, if they embalmed your heart because they wanted your heart to be like part of the ritual for that during the afterlife. It's pretty intense. Like, I don't think that, like, commoners in ancient Egypt, like, in their lore, I don't think they actually, like, had a place. I think they just went to, like, the afterworld, but it was, like, the pharaoh that was in charge that really mattered, and they determined whether or not their heart actually was pure enough to be with Osiris, and, like, was it Osiris, Isis, Ra, and something else. Like, I actually do know quite a bit about Egyptian culture. It's just, I'm kind of busy, so, yeah, like, basically, that was just called the Devourer, and you can see here, he was based on the crocodile, I think it was also the hippo, I think something else, like the jackal or something. I know that Egyptian mythology is pretty fucking weird. Like, I mean, most mythology's weird, obviously, but in Egyptian mythology, I believe Seth, the god of the desert, or Set, he, like, was in competition with Osiris before he died, and they were, like, brothers or something. And so they had like a ceasefire truce, and like he's like, here, I made you salad, because salad was considered sacred or something like that. And in the story, he, like, Osiris jizzes inside of the salad for Seth, and Seth chokes and dies, because in ancient Egyptian culture, semen was considered, like, poison, which is weird, because, I don't know enough about that culture, truthfully. It's always kind of fascinated me that's how, like, they killed him, basically, was, I think the exact words were his seed had tainted the lettuce or something like that. It's like, gee, he basically just blew load in some guy's salad and fucking killed him. That's incredible. That's why I'm always like, yeah, mythology's pretty fucking cool. It's pretty metal, man. Egyptians knew it was pretty cool. You don't see enough shit made about Egyptian culture anymore. And no, I would not consider The Mummy, the Brandon Fraser films, to be, like, anything close to being like, I know about Egyptian culture. No, I mean, like, I fucking sit there and watch, like, hour-long documentaries with, like, oh, what's her name? She's got, like, that frizzy red hair. It's not Mrs. Frizzle. It's, oh, she has a nice Brummy accent like this. And, oh, I think we're in the place of the dead people. Like, she's so enthusiastic about everything, and she's so cool and really informative. She's a professional Egyptologist. And, like, you know, it's something that, like, I think wasn't considered back then either, which is interesting, because you look at Eric Carter, the guy that discovered Tutankhamun's tomb. A lot of his field researchers died. I think Eric Carter also... Am I saying that correctly? I'm thinking of Aaron Carter and Eric Carter. I'm talking about the guy that discovered the tomb. I hope you know that's what I'm referring to here. He, they thought he... I think it was either him or, like, his research team they thought died of, like, a curse, when in reality it was just the fact that they got a mosquito bite and got, like, some insane level of, like, bacterial, like, malaria, I think was what killed them. But, you know, something that I really can't stress enough would be awful to realize is, think about this. You open up an ancient Egyptian tomb, right? Actually, any tomb in general. Like, let's just say it's a burial plot, right? Think about how long that's been stagnant with, like, dead tissue and, like, organs and insects festering and everything. Can you imagine how fucking god-awful that would be on your body to take that shit into you? Like, so, to me, that's just... Oh, man, that would suck to go out like that. You find, like, some pretty cool shit, and then you're done in by fucking, like, ultra malaria. That would be so sad. Like... I would be pissed if I was like, you know, if I found like a tomb and I realized, oh, how did you die? Oh, I got like the tomb lung or something like that. It's like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Cool. I love that. You can't jump behind this, which is weird. I always like how you can go behind it though. It's always, I think you can actually, don't quote me on this, but I think you can find a secret level by jumping in this at like a weird angle or something. I don't know. I've never found the secret level on this map, and I've played this game for years. Don't hate me, please. I don't know how to get there, and I'm not really interested in looking it up anyways. You know, I have. I've done it once. I don't remember it very well though, because you can look on my high score list on Steam and you can actually see, or actually if I went into the leaderboards right now, you'd be able to see what I'm talking about. Like, I've actually done every level in the game. I think I have, like, you know, let's check. Let's go to entire game. You see what I mean? Like, I've probably done Sacred Yards. Have I done it? No, I haven't done it. That's weird. Anyways, you can see I'm like 3,290 in the entire game on normal difficulty. That's pretty good in my opinion. I can't complain too much. The only thing that really drops down my score is if I save. But that's because I can't stand to replay some of these sections over and over again. Like, they're just incredibly tedious. Especially in Serious Sam Second Encounter. A lot of it's really hard, and you do not want to do it twice. Like, that's... I mean, that's common sense. I am of the era of... Oh, shit. I am of the era of gaming. You know, recently playing Tomb Raider 1 again. I've played that game 1,000 times. I know what I'm doing each time I play it. But I grew up playing the PS1 version, and if you've ever played Tomb Raider 1 on PS1, versus like the DOS version. Or I wasn't using DOS, I was actually using it's that little like the extra launcher or whatever it is, the one that lets you play the expansion and also lets you like adjust some of the graphics options. Like back in that game, you actually didn't have quick save. You actually had to save the game at predetermined points. You only got a handful of saves each level. And I remember getting to the fucking Great Pyramid and that shit was nerve-wracking. Like, one fucking bad jump, and trust me, it's easy at that hard, like, that hard part of the game, especially the Great Pyramid, holy shit. Like, oh, some of those jumps are just absolutely fucking horrendous. Like, you will just get absolutely shit-rocked if you're not careful. And, like, I struggle to even imagine how I did that. A, without the internet back then, and B, just, like, without, like, quick saves or anything. And I mean, because I grew up playing, like, Sega Genesis. I've went on this rant before. You know, back then, a game was just, like, either broken and you dealt with it, or you just sucked at it and that was your problem. Like, it was a totally different environment of games I grew up playing. Like, because back then, you know, games didn't have, like, I mean, difficulty was a thing, but I mean, like, I grew up playing games like Gran Turismo, and that game was fucking hard. Like, that is a tough fucking game in the beginning stages, you know what I mean? Like, you don't get any fuck around room in that. Like, you mess up one time, the rubber banding is so strict that any fucking error would just cause you to lose your shit. Oh my god, like the driver's test at the beginning. And this was before the fucking internet, you gotta remember, this shit was rough. Like, if you wanted to learn how to cheat at a game, you either remembered the cheat codes, you wrote them down physically and earned them somehow in the game, or you bought one of those fucking rad cool cheat books that had, like, probably shit that didn't work. Well, a lot of them didn't. Usually you'd buy them at, like, book fairs, and they just would not work ever. Like, that was what I had to deal with, and it was, like I say deal with, like it was important or something. Fucking deal with it. But, like, yeah, it was a totally different environment when I used to play games. Like, quick saving wasn't even a thing. I don't even know that... I don't actually think I know the first game that I played that had quick saves in it. Because everything I played had, like, hard difficulty and, like, hard, like, stats. Like, you just dealt with it. I remember this. There's the... It's called, like, the slum run part of, Jak 2. It's where you have to, like, you can't touch the water. And you have to, like, fucking platform around, like, Crimson Guard, and, like, you're doing all this bullshit, and it's just... It's one of the most frustrating fucking things in the entire game. Oh, this part's awful. I hate this part. Okay, so we can shoot these sphinxes, and we can unlock a little bit of extra goodies to make this slightly more tolerable, but it doesn't help. This part sucks. So, it's gonna be round 2 of this again, so I gotta focus down a bit. If you remember what I said the first time, that shit still applies here. Don't kill too many things at once, and always be, like, aware of where the fucking spawn points are. You can't just sit here and just shoot them. I don't use the chain gun, as you can obviously tell, because the chain gun requires a little bit of spin up, and I don't have that kind of reaction time right now. Alright, that looks pretty good. I think that's a pretty solid wave to take out. You know, this isn't as hard as I'm making it out to be, but it's just, once you start fucking up in Serious Sam, it's when everything starts to fall apart. I gotta focus pretty hard, because I'm almost out of bullets, too. Don't let him get too close, because you've seen my horrible luck with these things. I don't like to let him get too close to me. Kinda want to get that armor pickup, but I don't really need it yet. No, let's not use that. That's a bit of a waste. Okay. Should be okay at this point. I don't think those actually trigger anything if you pick those up. Not really sure on that, don't quote me. There's a lot of items in this game that have weird one-off purposes. Like, they just spawn shit. Like, I'm pretty sure that spawns something. I'm not gonna fuck with it. Ugh, okay. So we gotta stand on this. Oh, hell. Oh, God. There we go. Let's use the shotgun. Like, I think this is a lot safer in this situation. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. And now you see why I'm kind of just, like, the last bit of this game just sort of falls apart. Like, I don't really enjoy doing this. It's actually really frustrating. If the arena wasn't so square, this would totally be fine. You can tell I've played a lot of this game just by the reflexes I do in it, I hope. Okay, that takes care of that bullshit. Okay. I thought this would spawn the damn bull. Alright, whatever. Okay, let's switch to this then. I don't want to fucking deal with these. This is why I love Serious Sam, but just this arena is really not fun. And it doesn't seem like it is, but those little bumps right there are enough to fuck up my brain. Like, I don't want to run into them, and I don't want to get behind them on accident either. I don't want something to come ramping off of it and start fucking me over. Oh, you just gotta make sure you're moving. That's the entire point of this game, I guess, but you know what I mean. Alright, this is a... Oh god, this is a situation I need the cannon for this. Alright, that didn't count. That was bullshit, and you know it. So, this is why I say I don't like this environment. It's just not a good area to fight these in. It's just too narrow. They have way too many spots they can spawn from. This is why I say the design starts to go a little bit downhill. And why I say, Jesus Christ, when you get enemies out of sync, weird shit starts to happen. I'm trying to wait for that bull to spawn too. Because if you spawn the bull in just the right way, you can actually knock that wall down earlier. Alright, I'm going to switch to the cannonball. I have 30, so I might as well. This is an effective way to get rid of these too, because it pierces enemies. Even a fully charged shot will pierce through basic enemies like Clear, Beheaded, etc. It's just the power units that you have to worry about, because they have the most HP, and it won't... I don't think it'll pierce the Reptiloids either. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really want to find out, honestly. See, that's what I was talking about. Those little surfaces can cause them to just launch off of it preemptively, and I don't want to do that. Alright, I think that should be fine. Yeah, this is about where the bull starts to spawn. So, you can also use the knife. I've described this... Well, you've probably seen me do it a few times too, but the knife you can get like that far away from with. It's got a pretty high hitbox on it, but it also is a lot easier with the flamethrower in the other game. Here we go. So that pretty much opens this up, thank God. I hate this part. It's absolutely awful. Okay, this part's not too bad. I will say that. Let's get the armor first. Yeah, let's get this overheal. I think it's about as good as we're gonna get. You see, this is a much more... Oh, that was a waste. Oops. This is much more of an arena to me. Like, I can tolerate this because there's actual room and I can... Ow. You see, that wasn't really my fault, but it totally was probably. Like, the enemies don't spawn on, like, the edges, so they actually have, like, you don't get them just dropping on top of you. Ooh. Yeah, use that mechanic to your advantage, by the way. Don't ever act like it's cheesy, because it's the only thing that can save your life sometimes in these situations. And it's not like in Serious Sam 3, you can actually run away from kamikaze units in that game. It's a lot easier, but it doesn't mean it makes them any less dangerous. It actually makes it harder because they'll actually push you into other enemies more likely in that game. Like I said, the game is the same, identically, but it's just... the way you handle things is a little bit different. So, yeah, you can sprint in that game and you have, like... you can out-sprint the units like that, but it doesn't make it any more easier. You also get a much better weapon to deal with the clear in that game, too. You also get a flamethrower, which is just fantastic. Like, that That weapon alone trivializes clear, because you can just whip it out, you hit them like, you just go like this, basically, like puff puff, and then they die. It's that quick. It's one of the best weapons in the game to deal with clear. So, like, in this game, it's the minigun and the grenade launcher, but in that one, it's just the flamethrower. That's pretty much all you gotta use on them. I do like it a lot. It's actually not a bad weapon, too. It works pretty well on a couple other enemies. I think it works really well on those... Well, they're not mancubi, basically. They're like mancubi diet. There's also, like, a mancubus enemy in Serious Sam 3. They're called, like, the Scrapjack or something. I don't remember. They basically are just the mancubus from Doom. It's not, like, a huge deal. It's a little lazy, in my opinion, because it's literally just the same enemy. Like, it's a big fat dude that has, like, a lot of HP and shoots dual rockets in, like, a triple shot fashion. Like I said, literally the mancubus from Doom. That's why you hear a lot of people complain about Serious Sam 3. They'll say, oh, it's uninspired, it's lazy, it's got whatever, like, this shit. I also forgot to mention you can do this to the harpies. The last time I did this, I died, so basically you can do that, and it makes them pretty easy. They really aren't much of a threat anyways. You can still just do this, but use whatever weapon you really want to use. Personally, I don't care. It's whatever weapon I have in my hand at that very moment I'll kill them with. So, I don't really care. Use whatever makes you happy, Chief. The sledgehammer in Serious Sam 3 is also not as fun as the knife, I feel. Like, the knife is just such a solid melee weapon in this game. Because it's like, dude, I'm taking down, like, a fucking harpy bird monster thing. Almost a harpy bird lady. Harpy bird lady with, a fucking knife. Just, that's something just super satisfying about that to me. But you can see that they're really quite an easy enemy to take care of. You don't have to really put much thought into killing them. So, if you're ever worried about, oh, how do I deal with them, just use that. So yeah, it looks like it doesn't pierce the reptiloids and the scorpion dudes. I wasn't quite sure if it did. So there, answered your own question for my own sake, I guess, right? Oh, Cat's gonna yell at my roommate. Cool. Hey! Come here! Why don't you go in here and yell at me instead of being loud and rude? And then he stops. Go figure. So, yeah, you can get that secret health. I really have no idea what spawns it. I think I've gotten it every single time I play this game, and I still have no idea what opens it up or what triggers it. I don't even think it matters. I think it always happens. Oh, shit. Yeah, I've got the enemies out of sync. This isn't good. I wasn't kidding either whenever I said, oh yeah, like, once you get these... Like, see what I mean? Their pathing can get really weird. Because they're supposed to track your, like, directional movement. That's how they move towards you. But they end up, like, if you strafe just a little bit, sometimes they can, like, do a 180 and basically fuck up your whole... Like, it's just unavoidable. It's the only thing I don't like about them. Man, if you've ever played the very early beta for this, like the actual beta of this, like, program, they used to have such bad pathing. Like, they hooked onto you, basically. They were so broken. I'm so glad they got fixed. It was a week one sort of issue, you know? But damn, if it wasn't annoying. Oh, hell. Oh, no, and I got a frame drop. Not a good time. So... yeah, these things were way more dangerous in that version of the game, but obviously as the years have gone by, they've been patched to be more reasonable. I'm not really sure what it's like in the regular. I haven't played standard-ass, like, Serious Sam 1 in forever, so I don't know. I'd say just get the HD version, because it's the best. I really can't think of any other reason to not get the HD version. Oh, shit. Yee! Seriously though, take out bulls as soon as humanly possible. Like, if you don't, it's gonna be a pretty bad time. The walkers you can kind of... oh damn, that was a whiff. The walkers you can kind of ignore for a little bit, but the bulls, just... you can't do that. Like, you gotta get rid of those. Like, if you don't, they're gonna just move around, they're gonna get in weird spots, they're gonna desync, and the whole thing's gonna go to shit. I've already explained and demonstrated what that's like in the Memphis level. I'm not gonna do it here. I really don't want to. Thank you. As you say, this level will be fucking over by now. That'd be fantastic. So, there we go. That's Karnak, and then Luxor is next. I'll see you then. I keep coming so close to beating my high score. It's making me so sad. It totally matters, okay?